Hey everyone, Trace Kaiser here with Trace's Benefit Guide, helping employers navigate the journey of attracting, retaining, and developing great people. Today I'm out here at Thompson Creek in St. Francisville, Louisiana. And you may have heard the quote, "A river cuts through a rock not because of its power, but because of its persistence." So today we're going to talk about how the best employers have learned to run their benefits process day in and day out and create, in return, a great employee experience. Let me give you 5 examples. So number 1, it all starts with tracking eligibility. Over the years, I've talked with employers about how they track, say, a new hire, for instance, to make sure they don't miss their window. A lot of times the answer is a sticky note, Excel file, or calendar reminders. While these may work for some employers, say you have 8 employees and you don't have really any turnover, that may be the best solution. But for others, if you've got relatively higher employee amounts and then you have some turnover, it can be really tough to manage that manually with sticky notes. So there's great systems, communication tools, etc. that are going to make a more predictable experience for the employer, as well as keep the employee in the loop. So that's just an example. So eligibility has been tracked. Number 2, what has to happen? So it's time to get that employee enrolled. Now, there's a lot of different ways that this can be done. There's systems that do it for you. Some employers still use paper applications, for example. And again, that may be a good fit for a really small employer. Others use telephonic enrollment for really 2 reasons that we see our clients look to us for is, 1, having a recording of every conversation that happens in case there's ever a question or dispute. But number 2, it's just really good for a risk management and loss control measure to make sure that everything's documented and we know exactly what was said. So again, everybody has a different way of doing this. Those are just 3 ways that we see. So number 3, the enrollment's been done. The employee's been educated on the different plan types. So now we got to get payroll updated. How are you going to do that? So sometimes an employer will get a deduction file from their broker. Sometimes it's an email. So-and-so needs to be added to the plan. That's fine. We see clients that sometimes are having this handled inside their payroll system, which a lot of times is preferred if you can do that. That's a good option. But the most important thing is making sure you get that deduction started with the right amount and the right time, or else that's going to cause problems later. So payroll's been updated. Number 4, what about the carrier? Who's going to update the carrier? Say Blue Cross or Humana or whoever it is. We got to make sure they get the appropriate information. So many times we see the broker for the client doing this. Sometimes we see the actual HR employee or office manager responsible for updating this online. Other employers select to have an EDI file made to the carrier. There's pros and cons, obviously, with each one of these options, but you got to look at this to see what is going to create a predictable and repeatable experience for the employer and the employee, because data is important. So lastly, I'll end with number 5. When we're talking about getting things right, is what's your process to review the bill from all these carriers every month? We see a lot of cash leaks happening with things like termed employees left on the bill, or maybe an employee that didn't work enough hours to cover a deduction, or someone that's on leave as a third idea. So having a good set of eyes and a good system or process can help save a lot of money that could be going out the backside in cash leaks. So, you know, remember, persistence, not power, just like the river. And when it comes to creating a predictable process, make sure you have something in place that works for you. I'm happy to talk. Leave me a comment, send me a message, and we can discuss pros and cons that would be for you. And until next time, thanks for watching, and we'll see you on the next journey.